Everybody, and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you remember me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I just wanted to start by apologizing that there hasn't been an upload in, I want to say, like two weeks, and I honestly just don't know how that's happened. Like the time has just completely disappeared. Like I let you guys know the weekend of the 15th that I wasn't going to be uploading because obviously I was traveling. Which made complete sense. And then this entire, like the entire of last week, and pretty much the whole of this week as well, like the time has just disappeared. And like I'm sort of sat here like, oh my god, there's not been an upload in so long just because I ran out of time, like genuinely. And like I try to give myself a day break in the week because obviously I go to university, that's very important as well, and I just need time to rest. Otherwise I know if I overwork myself I'm going to get sick. So I'm so sorry that there hasn't been an upload for 2 weeks. I'll try not to let it happen again. I'll be a bit more on top of it this time, I promise. And like if there isn't an upload for whatever reason, I do tend to let you guys know on threads, so I highly recommend following me on social media because that is probably the best way for you to find out whether there's going to be an upload or not, instead of people who are just subscribed to my channel and are just like, oh, she hasn't uploaded this week, I wonder why. So yeah, follow me on threads, follow me on Instagram. It's both at Am's Untitled Podcast. DM me any questions if you're ever wondering where I am. I do answer DMs or emails, so just email me, DM me, ask me the questions, and I'll let you guys know. Just a little announcement as well before we carry on. Rick has announced a new book, a Nika D'Angelo adventure, which I was so excited about. I saw it on Threads maybe a couple of days ago, which was quite interesting. It's called The Court of the Dead, which is amazing. Can I just say, I've just seen the covers and I think that they're so beautiful. So yeah, I'm really excited to get around to reading that book. Once obviously I've completed whatever it is I'm reading right now. Anyway, let's get into the episode because I've already waffled for like 2 minutes and none of it had to do with any part of the episode. So let's get on with it. So this is the second to last episode on the Lost Hero book. We're almost finished, guys. Isn't that just crazy? We would have finished if I uploaded on time. We would have finished the episode, the book by now. But obviously, I'm sorry. Just circumstance, it wasn't lining up. So I'll try and make up for that in the next few weeks. Um, so today we're going to be talking through chapters 43 to 49 in the Lost Hero book. So chapter 43, this was a really short chapter, so not much happened. So I'm just going to sort of give you the overview of what happened. So obviously it turns out that Jason's lance broke, and that's why he was on the floor, which is where we left him. Um, in the last part, he was being basically beaten up quite badly by the giant. And he knows that obviously Piper and Leo are still alive. He's just a bit like he doesn't really know what's going on, and he can hear Looper talking inside his mind. So if you didn't know, Jason was raised by wolves, right? He's actually a forbidden son of Zeus. And him and Thalia got separated for whatever reason, and he ended up being raised by a pack of wolves. So Looper was the person who looked after him when he was younger. The giant knows about Jason's previous victories, even though he doesn't remember them. So that's a big thing. Like it's Rick is always reminding us that Jason has amnesia, like his memory has been taken away. He doesn't really know who he is, but it's the fact that everybody around him knows who he is and knows what he's done and what he's been through, and he doesn't. Like, I think there is such powerful thing that Rick did there. It's like the whole world knows who you are, but if you don't know who you are inside, it doesn't mean anything. And it's just one of those, the way Rick does it, like I can't explain to you guys how happy it makes me when I read his stuff. Like he has the most beautiful moral lessons written in a fictional world, but you can still relate to them. You know what he's trying to say, and that's what I love so much about his writing, and that is probably why he's one of my favorite authors ever. And I don't think that that will ever change. Sorry, went on a tangent there. That's not about what was going on in the book. But the last thing that happens in the chapter is that the giant is hovering his spear over Jason's chest, ready to sacrifice him to Gaia, and that's it. That's where the chapter ends. Chapter 44 is Jason's point of view again, and it opens up with everything obviously happening in slow motion. You know, Jason's about to die. Now it's up to Piper and Leo to save him, and it's just this whole big moment. And the way it's written in the book, like, it's fast, but it's also very slow at the same time. I don't know how Rick does it. Like, honestly, I remember reading that bit and being like, there is tension, and you can feel the tension, but everything is sort of happening around you, and you can't really get your head around that, which I think is so interesting. Leo slams a metal wedge into the Enceladus. Is that how you say it? Enceladus? Could somebody please tell me if I'm saying this wrong? Because I feel like people would be listening to my episodes and being like, "Wow, she can't read names." I actually cannot. That is what I've learned reading Percy Jackson. That some names I just cannot pronounce for the life of me. Slams a metal wedge into Enceladus's head and he falls into a pit. Hit, guys. Big hint again. Like I'm only picking up on it now because I'm going back and reading through my notes and being like, oh my god, Rick knew what he was doing. Like he's so good like that. He gets it. Piper tells him that he can't die on her. How cute is that? Like honestly, like as much as I dislike Jason for whatever my personal reasons are for disliking him, like I still think that him and Piper are like a cute couple. Like I'm not gonna lie about that, but they are cute. I can't I physically can't say that they're not a cute couple, and that's mostly because Piper's adorable, so like I can't say that they're not a cute couple. So yeah, whatever my personal grievances against Jason are, it has nothing to do with his relationship with Piper. And obviously, the big hint is that the giant rises again. So it's this idea that the monsters keep coming back. Like obviously, in the first five books, it took a lot longer for monsters to come back. Like for example, with Percy and the Minotaur, like the Minotaur took multiple years before Percy faced him again. Whereas with this, it's like they're killing things, they're killing these monsters, like trying to save themselves, but they keep coming back. And this is this whole idea that it's like nature is at war with itself. Like no matter what you do, like the hits just keep coming. And I think that that's such a big thing as well. And Rick is so good at leveling things up. Like he never writes a bad book. Like he just can't. His leveling up skills are something that need to be analyzed because he's great. So yeah, it ends up with them teaming up and they attack the giant together again. And Jason electrocutes the giant and he falls into a crevice. The earth shakes and Jason falls towards the rift. So it's the idea that they're against nature again. Like the earth is physically moving. Like they're about to face something really big. Like they're coming up against a challenge that they're not confident they can defeat. And I love that. I'm glad that Rick grounds his characters as well. Like it's not like he gives them like, yeah, we can take on the world, blah blah blah, because we're demigods, we're intelligent, we're half god, whatever the reason might be. Um, I'm glad that he puts that in there because sometimes it puts the audience on edge as well. It's like, oh my god, like if they can't face them, then what chance does the rest of humanity have? Which I think is so good. Like the way Rick does it, it's just honestly just incredible. Like that man, honestly, if I ever got the chance to meet him one day and just talk about all these things, I would be so happy. I would be very starstruck, but I would be so happy. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Becky, his wife, as well. And obviously, I'm a huge fan of his son's writing as well, which is amazing. Anyway, sorry, we're on a tangent there. What was I talking about? Leo and Jason. Leo and Jason. Leo and Piper pull Jason up, obviously, because he had a bit of a tumble, and they see a helicopter coming towards them, and Coach Hedge wakes up. Ooh, helicopter. Who do we think it's going to be, guys? Just hint, hint. Who is it? Piper runs into her dad. Obviously, the whole reason why they came here was to save her dad, and obviously, this whole journey that she's had throughout this book has been about making sure that her dad comes home safe, and she's finally done that. And I think that it was such a sweet moment. I'm not gonna lie, I did tear up a little bit. Obviously, I do. I always cry when I read certain things because even though I know what's happening, I don't know why. It just gets me emotional. Whatever. Jason asks Leo to build them something, so Piper can talk, basically, and that's where the chapter ends. Chapter 45 is Piper's point of view, and it opens up with them borrowing the helicopter by using Leo's bullhorn to convince the pilot to land. So basically, they got saved, in other words. Leo and Jason help her with her dad because he's probably not in the best physical state he could possibly be in. Her dad is completely traumatized by what he's seen. And obviously, being kidnapped by giants and tortured by them is probably not something that one can get used to. So I imagine that he'll be carrying that weight around with him for a long time, basically. And the pilot recognizes her dad as Tristan McLean, but Piper lies and says he's not. Um, yeah, I don't think that that was a very believable lie, to be honest, but whatever. And Piper tells her dad that her mother is Aphrodite because obviously it was revealed, I can't remember in what chapter, that obviously Aphrodite is her mom, and Tristan had no idea before Piper was conceived that Aphrodite was a goddess. So now he knows, which is probably a bit sad. To be honest, oh, you infatuated with someone, turns out they were actually a god. Like, I can't imagine what that must feel like, to be honest. Um, Tristan calls Piper a hero and that he's proud. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know what? When I read that, I just thinking about it now, like I'm choking up because I'm like I can remember exactly how it happened in the book as well. And I'm like, oh, there is no greater thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody who disagrees with me, let me know. But I feel like there is no better feeling than someone calling you a hero and saying that they're proud of you. And I think when it comes from a parent, it's even more like I don't think you can ask for a better gift, basically. Oh my gosh. Choking up. No, I'm not gonna cry. That is so embarrassing. I cried in one of my Percy Math episodes and I still haven't lived that down, so I'm not gonna do that again. But yeah, it was just beautiful. Like that moment was just perfect. And like I said, like Rick is really good at creating really intense moments, but also these very emotional moments that are so simple. And the simplicity is what I love. She obviously tells him about everything that's happened. She basically just gives him a rundown of what's gone on, and the chapter ends with Jason recognizing where they are, and her dad says that they live in a world of monsters. Now, even that is such a huge hint. You know, like again, like talking about the whole fictional aspect of the book, like yes, they have physical monsters that they battle and fight against every day. But I think what Rick is trying to say is that in our world as well, like in a metaphorical sense, there are monsters everywhere. There are bad people everywhere. And I think it's about being the good in the bad, in a bad world, basically. Like I said, like nobody teaches a moral lesson like Rick does, and I have honestly no idea how he does it. Like I'm so proud to be one of those people that discovered this at such a young age. I've honestly learned so much from these books, and even now reading it again as an adult, you could say it still has the same effect. And in fact, like I understand more now that I'm an adult and I'm reading it, and I'm like, wow, I really understand what he's trying to say. And part of me thinks like when I grow up and I have my own kids, like Percy Jackson is one of the books that I will give them, no doubt. Like that will be a bedtime story that I read to them because there is so much you can learn from this world. And I hope that Rick is still writing books because I will still be reading them. I have no shame in admitting that I will still be reading them, and it's a series that anybody can read over and over again and not get bored. Like it just gets, it's like wine. It gets better every single time. Not that I drink or anything. I actually don't drink for whatever reason, but it's just beautiful. Like when I read his writing, like it makes me emotional every single time. I cry, I laugh, I get happy, I get excited. Even now, it's just beautiful, and the way that he does it is honestly hats off to him. He's an incredible author, and I couldn't be more grateful for this story. And I know that it's come out of a place of love as well, which makes me so happy. Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent there. I have a habit of doing that. Let's do the last few chapters together. So, chapter 46 is Piper's point of view, and the helicopter lands in Oakland Airport. Piper tells them that she needs to get her dad home, and her dad tries to stop her. Um, yeah, I know what she means. Like, she just wants to make sure that he's okay. But luckily, Coach Hedge volunteers to be his protector and look after him. Oh, we love Coach Hedge. Like, I know that he's a bit silly at times, but it's all out of love, and he's probably got the biggest heart any satyr can ever have. He's like Grover in that sense. They're both very people with big hearts and always want to do the right thing, and that's another reason why I love him so much. Um, the boys leave Piper and her dad to talk, and he mentions something about feeling like he's failed Piper, and you know it's a big thing like as a parent, to always want to protect your child. And I think that the fact that her father feels like he couldn't do that for whatever reason, for his own, whether it was his career that got in the way or whatever the reason might be, I think that that moment was really sad. And Piper sort of gives him the vial that Aphrodite gave her, to take away his recent memories. So the conversation that they've just had, all the giant encounters he's had, seeing Piper as a hero and being proud of her, like he's gonna forget all that basically. And this moment was so sad because I was like, Piper will remember everything, but her dad won't remember anything. And I think that there's nothing more heartbreaking than that. Like, she knows deep down that her father loves her. He might be a bit of a tough cookie to crack, and maybe he's not been the best parent and he's not been present the way Sally was. I think she knows internally how much he wants to be there for her. And, like, she's got that memory of him knowing about this world and who she truly is in her brain. And I think that's all that really matters to her, which I think is so sweet. This is what I mean. Like, Rick, he writes in a mythological world, but everything he's teaching about love, about sacrificing yourself for the people you love, about just being present for the people around you and not taking them for granted. Like it's so beautiful, and I just don't think that there's anybody who can say that he doesn't write the most perfect things, because that moment is probably one of my favorite moments, and it's probably my favorite moment in the whole book. Like that made the book special for me. Um, and the way this moment sort of comes to an end is that they tell each other that they love each other, and obviously Tristan drinks from the vial and passes out. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm feeling emotional just thinking about it. Like I definitely, like I've literally written in my notes that I cried in that scene, and I'm crying now, even though I haven't physically read it, just by the notes that I've taken. Like it makes me emotional, and that's why I love this series so much. And I love Rick. If you're listening, Rick, I am honestly one of your biggest fans, and I think I will be for the rest of my life. To be honest, I don't think there is anything he can do about his writing that wouldn't make me love him even more. Anyway, let's move on from the fact that I'm getting choked up, and let's talk about something else. Coach Hedge takes Christian Christian Stop. Tristan to the plane to get him ready to go home, and he warns Jason and Leo to take care of Piper. Oh, that, you know what? I feel like Coach Hedge is kind of like Piper's dad. Like he feels this protectiveness over her, and he knows that obviously Tristan hasn't really been present in Piper's life, so he tries to like fill that void. Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, I'm not sure, but it's very very cute. And Piper, of course, bursts into tears, and the boys sort of comfort her. And I think she's been holding a lot back through this whole book. I think she feels like she can't cry, like she has to be strong, and she just has to make sure her dad's okay. And now that she knows deep down that he's okay and he's forgotten everything that's happened to him and he's going to go back to himself, I think that's quite soul crushing for her. And it's so sad, and like it's just this, when you're a very empathetic person, like I'm a very empathetic reader, like I'm fully immersed in the story, like I want to know what's happening all the time, and I understand characters on a very emotional level. And I think that's why I resonate so much with Piper. Like the love that she has for her dad, like I have that too. Like I imagine it as if like I was in that situation, how would I feel? And I think it's just, yeah, the bond between like a father and daughter. I can't speak for all the fathers and daughters in the world, but particularly the bond that I have with my dad, like the thought of anything happening to him scares me day in and day out. And the fact that obviously Piper's dad has been in danger and she was on the verge of losing him, like honestly, I can't imagine what that must have felt like. And yeah, I'm so glad that the boys are there to sort of uplift her and make her happy again. They receive an iris message from Thalia asking where they are. Oh, we love Thalia. She's great. Do you know what? One of the main things I've loved about this book is the amount of Thalia cameos we've got. It's actually amazing. Thalia tells Jason to remember their last trip, and Jason realizes it's Sonoma Valley. Now, again, Thalia is one of those characters where she doesn't give Jason everything he needs about his past, but she sort of guides him in the right direction, which is what I love about her as well. Like she does a really good job of dropping hints, but not giving him everything. She doesn't want to spoon feed him. She wants his memories to come back by itself. And the chapter sort of ends with them borrowing the helicopter from the mortal pilot so Leo can fly it. Of course. Of course he does. Chapter 47, which is Leo's point of view, opens up with him flying the helicopter, and Jason explains that Wolf House is an abandoned mansion in Sonoma Valley that was built by a demigod called Jack London, who was a writer. Yeah, again, like I said, Rick never ever throws anything in there for no reason. He always puts details in for us readers. And Jason is still like remembering bits and pieces from his past, but he can't really remember much. Like he can't remember everything. The wolf house is a sacred ground, but it was cursed, and it burned in a fire before Jack and his wife moved in. After a few years, he died, and his ashes were scattered there. So the whole house has a bit of like a spooky, sort of ominous history, you could say. So yes, perfect place for a wolf house, you could say. Jason realizes that's where his journey began. Guy wants to harness its power to obviously entomb Hera and raise Porphyrion to awaken the Earth goddess fully. So she's planning on harnessing the power of this sacred land, keeping Hera out of the way, obviously, so she can't contact any of the other Olympians to stop them. And Porphyrion, who is, I think, one of her sons, is going to make the ultimate sacrifice to raise Gaia fully, basically. So there's a lot in just that one chapter about what's prophesized to happen, you could say. Um, Leo's upset because after all this, he doesn't have a home to go to, basically. Do you know what? That was like the most soul crushing thing to hear. Like, Leo is one of those characters where he's always jokey, always like really, really happy, you could say. And like, yeah, he's right. Like, his mortal mother is dead. Like, he doesn't have any siblings. Like, he doesn't have a home, which is just the saddest thing. And because he's such a happy character, I think it's even more gut wrenching when he says things like that. And honestly, the only thought that was going through my mind when I was reading that was like, I just want to give the guy a hug. Like, genuinely, he just feels like he needs a hug. And I think he still doesn't recognize Camp Half Blood as his family, which is fair. Like, he hasn't really spent much time there, but I think he'll learn to find a family. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. Leo tells them to get some rest, and Jason falls asleep, but Piper is wide awake. Again, it's probably that overthinking about her dad sort of thing, which is really sad. And obviously Leo picks up on that hint, and he reassures her that her dad will be fine. But Piper says that she's worried about Jason. Now, what she means by that is probably not what you guys think. She means that she thinks that him remembering his past might make him a different person. Now that's true because at the minute, if you look at it on a grand scheme, Jason is only a shell of what he used to be. Like he has no memories of where he came from, who he is, the victories he's had, the home he has, whatever. Like, so whoever he is right now is is who he's learned to be over this journey, basically. It's not who he actually is. So she's worried that once he comes back with these memories, he'll be different from the man that she knows. And I think that that is a very valid worry. Like, you you don't really know someone until you know about their past and what they, because I feel like as much as I say this, like the past doesn't define you, but it does mold who you're going to be, basically. And I think she's just worried that Jason is a completely different man, which is not necessarily a true statement. And Leo obviously says that that's not the case at all. But I can see that worry from a friendship point of view. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Like, I really do get it. Leo tells Piper that she can trust herself and him too. Oh, guys, you know what? I don't think enough gets said about Leo and Piper being a good duo. Like, I think that they're very much like siblings, and it's very very cute. And they have so many cute moments as this book series goes along that I can't wait to talk about. But yeah, I think that they're a really underrated duo, and I will obviously be talking loads about them because I love them so much. And the chapter ends with them hitting storm clouds, which is obviously not a good sign, you could say. Chapter 48, second to last chapter that we're going to be talking about. Oh boy, there's a lot in this chapter, isn't there? Bloody hell. Okay, so it's Leo's point of view, and they fly into a snowstorm. Jason wakes up, and the helicopter is spinning out of control. They find a clearing and manage to land the helicopter, and it explodes just as they manage to make it out. So, oh, that's quite scary. Um, they see Thalia fighting the ogres, and she tells them that they have been trying to hold the perimeter against the Earthborns, wolves, and storm spirits. Basically, they've just flown straight into a battlefield, in other words. So, like, just as they've defeated one giant, they've come into a whole battlefield full of them, and wolves and storm spirits, which just sounds absolutely terrifying if you ask me. Um, Thalia says that they've been trying to free Hera, but they haven't got much time. Oh, what a shame. Sorry, guys, I really don't like her, so the thought of releasing her from an eternal prison doesn't make me feel any better, but okay. Um, the trio run inside the mansion, and Jason remembers being there. Hera gave Jason to the wolves so that they could raise him. Oh, there's a shock. Ah, she's the one who was instrumental in getting rid of him and sending him to the wolves, so everybody else wouldn't find out that Zeus broke the pact for the second time. Fantastic. Leah recognizes Tia in the cage and she commands for them to get her out. Rude much? Maybe they should have just left her there, honestly. She is the person who has tortured Leo and now she's commanding him to help her. I'm sorry, but that's just wrong in my opinion, but whatever. And then she tells Thalia when she gets out, she will make her sorry that she was ever born. What an actual bitch. Someone, excuse my French, but somebody really needs to throw her in Tartarus. I swear I would have just left her there. I would have been like, yeah, no. I would just leave you in that prison. Even if it meant facing Mother Earth straight away, I would have been like, no, I'm not saving you. Thalia thinks that they should leave Gaia. They should leave Hera for Gaia. Obviously, why not? I couldn't agree more. Jason tells her to help the hunters. Oh, shut up, Jason. So annoying. Honestly, I wouldn't listen to a word he says, but whatever. Hera reveals that she chose Jason as her champion. Sorry, what? She chose Jason. She chose Jason because she sent him to a pack of wolves and took away his memory so that he could save her. It's not choosing him as a champion. It's like, oh, I'll put you in a situation where you can't do anything because you haven't got any memories. So by default, you're gonna have to do this thing for me if you want your memories back. It's just awful. I hate her so much. I'm sorry. Like from the first five books, like I hate that woman, but I feel like the hatred gets more and more every single time I read Heroes of Olympus. And next to her, they see a body bag where Fulfurion is reforming. Oh god, that sounds horrible. Leo remembers the line from the prophecy: "The forge and dove shall break the cage." And he realizes that in order to break the cage, it's going to take him and Piper. So the forge is obviously Hephaestus' forge, Leo, and the dove is obviously Aphrodite, Piper. Um, the room goes. Oh my gosh, I can't even read what I've written there. Oh yeah, the room goes cold, and horses, storm cloud bodies, wolves, and earthborns rise. Oh dear, that's really not good, is it? One of the wolves drags Thalia's statue into the room. Jason says he will kill whoever did it. In other words, who turns people into statues, guys? And guess who makes sparkling appearance? Appearance. Khione appears cackling, telling Leo he doesn't have any time left. Ooh, big cliffhanger there that was. Now, the last chapter we're going to be talking about in this episode is chapter 49, which comes to Jason's point of view again. And Jason's worst memories were coming back, basically. He's being attacked by all these negative things that he can think of, basically. Khione is working with them to ensure Fulfurion rises. Of course she is, the little backstabber. She does realise that once Gaia rises, she's not going to be spared either, even if she's like their what would you call it, accomplice, is that the right word? I don't know, whatever. She's not the smartest tool in the shed, is she? Jason realizes that Khione is the one who lured Hera into the trap and convinced Zeus to close Olympus. Of course she did. She's actually so instrumental in this whole story. Like honestly, all the bad stuff that's going to happen in the next few books is because Khione has done this, but you know, we'll come back to that. She reveals that she is the one who told Aeolus to kill them. Basically, of course she did. By Jason being killed, the demigods will be outraged and they think that the Greeks would have conspired with the giants, which is kind of semi-true, but at the same time, not really. Leo realizes that they want to destroy Greece, like they want to destroy the heart of the Olympians, which is where anybody want to take a guess? I know where it is. Khione offers Leo to join her, and he refuses. Oh, thank God he's learned something. He's not just blind by his feelings for her. And the snow begins to dissolve, and the monsters charge at them. And that is where we're going to leave it, because we're going to do the last few chapters in the next episode. So let's just sort of round up my final thoughts and feelings about this section of the book. So the scene between Piper and her dad saying goodbye obviously made me cry. I'm not going to say much more about that because I don't want to get choked up again. Obviously, I love Coach Hedge for being so nice and taking care of Tristian, making sure that he gets home because he knows that Piper has a bigger responsibility. Leo is is so cool. Like honestly, I could not believe that guy flew a helicopter. Like that's actually amazing. My girl Thalia, she's such a G. Like she hates Hera almost as much as I do, and I honestly would have thrown her into Tartarus myself. She is an absolute bitch. Like I just would not have saved her for the life of me. And of course, Khione was behind all of this. Yeah, like I said, I kind of saw that coming anyway. As soon as like she started hitting on Leah, I was like, yeah, she's nothing but trouble. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening in. Really hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let me know how you guys feel about the book so far. Any thoughts, anything that I might have missed, let me know. Um, this episode will be available to stream on Spotify and on my YouTube channel. I'll put the links on my Instagram and on my threads. Follow me on Instagram, follow me at threads. They're both at Aamsuntitledpodcast. Podcast. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel whilst you're there. It's very much appreciated. Follow me on Spotify as well. Episodes go up on Spotify weekly. I hope you guys have had a good week. I won't hopefully be taking any more unexpected breaks, but I'll keep you guys updated and I'll be speaking to you guys very soon. Mwah! Bye!